or that we may be allowed to re-establish and adopt our ancient mystical and physical identity, traditions and culture for the sake of our unsurpassed splendor and grandeur, which is our birthright. Since our ancestors never worshipped God, Jesus, Allah, or anything else other than the nameless creator, does the creator have a master plan? We have heard narratives that the centerpiece of that plan culminated in the creation of a creature, a human being. Is it true? Do you believe this? If that's the case, then what's everything else doing here? The planets, the fish, the clouds, the wine. A sage, a wise one, answers our question by an axiom. For the intended purpose to be efficaciously achieved, the means must be concluded which that intended chief aim can be accomplished. Think of this. Everything that exists in this world requires a specific law to bring it into existence and to sustain it. He arose uttering a cry that shattered the eternal silence. This was the first sound, the first word, and that word was Kahuti, so-called thought. The self created the logos, the wisdom. Amun-Ra knew that he was alone and soon found he could not bear the solitude. The first created was the creator goddess Mahati, was brought forth. Justice, truth, the judge and balance of dualities. For duality is the law of the universe, and the two sustain the universe unto this day. The divine word and the truth. Please chat by LM Tumizulu here of Maarifa Development Organization. We want to deal with the master plan, purpose of creation. So, if the one and only purpose of creation is so that humans can get pleasure, it must be that everything else is just a means to help us accomplish that purpose. Our job is to figure out what the props on the stage of life mean in our personal spiritual quest to fulfill that purpose to the master plan. Of course, it would be difficult for any but the most united humans to understand the unique spiritual function and purpose of each and individual fruit and vegetable found on the earth. For us, we could start with the more general question: why did the Creator give us a food? Could we have not made us in a way that we don't need to eat, like stone and a rock? And when we probe further, we realize that everything that the Creator brought into existence, air, water, plants, insects, reptilians, greys, viruses, animals, and the unknowns, came out of nothing. And that above all these, humans have the most needs. Consider Maslow's hierarchy of needs. From physiological safety, love, belonging, esteem, to self-actualization. The issues of morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, and acceptance of facts. As well as self-esteem, confidence, achievement, and respect of others. Friendship, family, sexual intimacy, security, employment, resources, food, morality, as well as breathing, food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, and excretion. Those are the needs that we need as humans. On top of everything, humans need extra attention. For instance, a newly born human immediately requires care, otherwise they start eating their feces. Security, love, support, training and teaching, and much more. On the other hand, an insect or an animal, young ones, within minutes or seconds of their birth, are already up and running about. The newly born calf is already walking to its first feed, yet the human needs 2 more years, plus or minus, and continuous training until the day we die. Life props, which we have indicated above. The logical answer is that each of these props, food, parents, etc., is simply a variable of perfection and deficiency that aid and cause us to reconnect and remember the divine laws, to shed off false realities, to wake up and to go through a cleansing process. The underbelly group gives us this diagram and this explanation. When you begin to awaken, there are layers that will be shed off. You may experience rage, depression, anxiety, fear. You have to ride that wave. You have to allow these things to exit your system, because your illusion of self, the ego, is being shed. So your true self, the spirit, can thrive and embrace you through the transition. To master the reality that it is the chain of ancestor links that eventually rejoins us up to the first ancestors, the original created full humans who were and are at the edge of the chasm before we enter into the zone of knowing who is the creator. Eventually, this leads us to comprehend that the creator exists not as a spirit or a physical entity. How so? Food and drink. Food, for example, raises our awareness that we have a community and a dependence of communities, our ancestors, our neighbors, and that we dwell in an animal body. Then two, which needs its physical fuel, the food. Therefore, to be physically satiated requires constant maintenance, a master plan, i.e. procuring the food, high quality meals after every few hours. A principle of correspondence, so as above, so is below. Everything in the physical world is a metaphor, a symbol for a corresponding spiritual need and function. I was created and I carry an identity epitomized by my ancestors and totems. This is what my ancestors achieved. This is what my ancestors revealed and built on the earth to represent the cosmos. By their power in me, all my needs and all my happiness on earth are surrounded by an invisible and visible reality. The spirit charges everything. There is an influence which knows more about life than I do. And if I can learn it and master it, I can do it now and beyond, just like my ancestors have proved in history, discovering and bringing forth into existence that which had never existed before. The master step number one. We can now encapsulate the tremendous life lesson here. As we search and practice the way of life amenable to our Bantu-ness, we mature and grasp the Creator who is beyond knowing by our mind or brain. Yet we will come to the same conclusion. The Creator created me indirectly via my biological parents who fulfilled the law of reproduction. Thus, the Creator loves me in a way that is not as easily understood by me or as possible understood by anybody. How is that so? Because I will never fully comprehend the Creator. Yet there are people today teaching us that the Creator is God. It's not so. It is not necessary to go beyond the acknowledgement and abiding by the laws. The Creator created the infinite nature in and around our lives for a purpose. All I need is I should trust and build a relationship with those delegated to take care of me when I was or when I am a physically and spiritually vulnerable entity. My parents, my ancestors, and society. Our parents, and by extension our ancestors, remain our guardians, just as our biological parents supported and guided us from the moment they changed our diapers and taught us to walk, to talk, and to think. Yet we must, at a point, compare their philosophy of life to a certain standard. What is that standard? Here is a shocking revelation. The divine laws of Mati that were plagiarized by Christians, Muslims, and many others. We go not to the plagiarized, but to the original. The law is the master plan. It is the standard. Ubuntu is the arbiter of blessings and cursings. Our ancestors are the spirit that forges us in the master plan. Need I say more? Nah. Those with ears to hear and eyes to perceive have enjoyed this great truth. The master plan stands revealed. This is the master plan, culminating in the judgment of the day, when our ancestor Ausarije and the law Maati and the way we have lived on the earth, as well as the judge, the totem crocodile, everything will be weighed, and those who are good will pass through to a new life as a new spirit. This was and will always be here, even during these dark days of the God fiction mayhem. A tiny speck. A certain sage in his collection of essays asks the following question: if everything in the world is just for us humans, so then why make the universe so vast? Look, this is where you are. We are just a tiny speck in the universe. Planet Earth, compared to the size of the solar system, is like one tiny sand grain in a football pitch. If our entire solar system, the sun and other planets, was a cup of coffee, then relatively speaking, the Milky Way galaxy is like the size of North America. Imagine that. And our Milky Way galaxy is one of the hundreds of billions of galaxies. The universe is so large that without using this three-step analogy, it will be impossible to fathom. You can read more about God and the creation from our book, The Creator or a God, Inner Standard by Priest Teacher Rabbi Ellen Tumizulu. You can get this book from Amazon. A lot of people have sent commendations and recommendations for this book. So, the sage asks, if it's all for us, why bother making it so huge? Of course, all of it costs the Creator nothing. But if we will never ever be able to even see 99% of it, much less visit it or make use of it, why bother? He answers. On this point, the sage gives a stunning observation. Even if only one person somewhere in the course of human history looks up and says, wow, the Creator is worth it. Wow, expected it. That idea that the sage gives is awe-inspiring and drives home great everyone of exactly what our nation lived by in ancient times. They knew and lived too well. This was before the corrosive influence of God. Now millions fear and worship a character who took somebody's betrothed maiden because at that time she was recommended as the most beautiful, impregnated her with his only begotten son, whom he sent out mercilessly on a cross 4,000 years too late. We have indeed been bewitched by the God fiction. We are now told that this is the master plan, and the billions follow this. Our ancestors provided the systems we need, which we can use and win in this life today, not Christianity, Judaism, Islam, or any other religion. Our system can double and triple your ability to do more final in-depth research so that you can activate your totems and you can engage in powerful creative thinking and output like our awesome ancestors. Totems, Afro unity, and love. All this was there before the God fiction took over the spirit soul of the earth. The machinery to do so and achieve the reversal of all this is Ubuntu Maati, that practices the Anumian ancient African reverential system. Unblocked Christian thinking, driven with the fanatical restorative energy, will restore our individualized status into the divine society populated by righteous ancestors, even if we are still of the flesh, bones and blood. That's what we teach. That's the master plan. part of the master plan. Subscribe to our channel Community Hebrew Ethics. Email us on join@marifado.com. To know more on the master plan, visit our website www.marifado.com. Marifa Development Organization. This preacher Rabbi Elem Tumizulu Siabonga Tatenta Henkos Edupe. Thank you. Have a good day. The master plan stands revealed.